Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another all tied up fly tying school project Healing Waters extravaganza. Each and every week, we dedicate ourselves a 2 hours thereabouts tying some flies or not for, but in support, in demonstration, in support of uh, my local Project Healing Waters program, which is here in St. Cloud, Minnesota. And so tonight I have tonight's pattern labeled as an articulated minnow, and I've looked up and down and I've looked around, and basically it's a game changer. And I've looked at the game changer, watched a few videos, and let's see here. We are trying to view my channel. That way I can see me in the monitor. Anyways, yeah, so let's see here. It says that we got just the one of us is watching. We'll give it a good couple minutes here before we get started too far, because this is quite an interesting pattern, and it takes a little bit to tie. I'll tell you that for free. I really got to get a better spot for this. I won't be using the trash can too much. That works for now. Anyways, so how's everybody doing? Today's what? The Wednesday the 10th. That means next Sunday is Valentine's Day. I was thinking about tying a Valentine's Day special, something like that, but this minnow kind of, I don't know. I've only tied what, one, two. I got three iterations that I've been working on, and round one kind of worked out all right, I suppose. Let's see if I can get this back up here. It worked out all right. It's super articulated. I don't know. Ow. But that was my first attempt. And then I decided to try again, and I changed up the recipe just a little bit as far as how things were made and stacked. And I'll be 100% honest, I'm not 100% satisfied with that one. And then came round number three. I think things are getting a little bit better, as far as the construction process and the different links. And guess what? We are bass and pike fishermen up here. And like I said, what got my noodle canoodle going on this. Where did I put those? There they are. I've got some spawn fly fishing spawn super shank selection. Its sizes 9 millimeter through 20 millimeter, 15 of each. It's this big old pack of them, and it's like the biggest one is only 20 millimeters, and I'm sitting there looking, I'm like, that's got to be great for catching small fish and this and that, but one of the things that becomes a problem sometimes that I've noticed is having fish that are just too small for your fly, trying to take it, and it's just like, come on guys, leave it alone. You can't, don't mess with that. You're way too small. And it's like big flies catch big fish. Yes, you can catch a whatever you want on a size 20 dry fly, so what. But I stepped it up, and the main hook that we're going to be using, I'm using a B10S Stinger Gamakatsu, with not one, not two, not three, but four 1 inch long shanks from the Fly Tyers dungeon. And then I got at the very back end a little trailer hook, and it's a size 4, and it's labeled as a tube fly hook. So I don't know, we'll see. Where is everybody tonight? Normally 5 minutes in, we got quite the audience. But anyways, with that, that's kind of the hardware end of it. I'm going to experiment with a different eye this time. I want to add one of those little rattle eyes, and yeah, so I'm using a Congo hair for the belly and the body. It's all Congo hair all around. And I lost the bag with the label, but it's kind of this black olive, dark olive, kind of a light olive, maybe almost a lime mix. And I don't know, so far I think I really like the way it's coming out, and I'm going to be adding just a little touches of this starburst fibers. It's almost like an angel hair ice dub kind of stuff. I was tried with a UV pearl ice dub earlier, and it definitely comes out with kind of almost a pinkish hue. So we're going to try and see if we can't get something going that'll kind of keep it kind of darker. And I mean, this is a minnow. When we say minnow, I've definitely caught fish smaller than that. All right. So, anyways, it's more or less a game changer. I really don't want to call it a game changer necessarily. I don't know. I don't want to oversell it. Because this is, like I said, this is my 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be my fourth attempt at tying something like this. But I think I got a good grasp of it, and I'm taking a lot of stuff that I've learned along the ways from other big old flies, big old musky flies and such. So and it's just a matter of keeping it proportionate and keeping it even. That's what we're after here. So what I did to go ahead and just save ourselves a little bit of time, check this out. I know for a fact that I'm going to be alternating between this green Congo hair, this kind of mix, dark mix, green olive mix, and this white, top and bottom, top and bottom. And what I have here is the hairline dubbing kind of prep station, if you will. And what it is, it's just a piece of foam. I don't know how or why somebody couldn't just make something like this themselves. But anyways, I've got this all prepped and ready to go, alternating between, top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom. And I've got the little metal, the shanks spaced out evenly too. So, for this one, it's going to be boom, 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 new one, boom, 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 new one, boom, 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 new one. And we're going to have to reload this. And what I did is you'll see how we do it here for the second half of the fly, basically the second half, the non-wiggle shanks part of it. It's just taking it off and cutting it down into little. I think the pieces that I'm using are definitely way too big after you get it trimmed down, but I'd rather have a little bit too much material as far as length, not as far as bulk, because you can definitely get too much bulk in this, and then your bits and pieces aren't going to come out right. But as far as length, it's easier to hang on to. I'm going to end up trimming a lot of it off, but I recognize that. But it's also going to help me out when I'm tying, and I'm really not going to save myself any effort or doing myself any justice by, really trying to dink around with, a piece that's just the size of my, my fingertip, when I could go twice as much. And, does it really matter? Because I got a big pile of that stuff. So let's go ahead and spin around. Good evening. We got 6 of us in. So we're going kind of a game changer style-ish fly tonight. There's lots of other great step-by-step tutorial videos on that. Where is my camera? There we go. So let's go ahead and spin ourselves around. We'll do the hokey pokey. You let me know in the chat if I should zoom in or out or anything like that. Let's get her going. So at the very, 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 very back, like I said, I'm using it's labeled as a tube fly hook. Where did my little bag of stuff? It's made by Moonlit, and it's an ML091, a tube fly hook, kind of close to that shape. And at the very back end, I'm going to be using some olive grizzly hackle. And it's from a hen saddle, and I'm not going to be too worried about it. So let's get it started. For the project tonight, we're going to be using a little bit thicker of a thread, not thicker, but pretty stable, because I'm really going to be getting some tension on this. I'm using a gel spun. It's 100 denier, so good size thread. Let's go ahead and get this going. With the gel spun thread, one of the things you gotta be careful is it's kind of tough on the scissors. So if you're using it quite a bit, you'll want to really be mindful of your scissors. And what I decided to do on the back end on this one is I'm looking for just the right hackle. I got some pretty gnarly looking stuff on the bottom of it, but here we go. We'll do 1 and 2. Here we go. And we're just going to strip off the fuzz and get ourselves down to a little bit of a handle. And I'm not even going to go maybe 1/3 of the way back. I'm just going to tie it in like a soft hackle. Lock it down nice and tight. And get the bell ready. You know what that means. Alright, let's go ahead and we're just going to do this for our body. Or not our body, but this is our tail that we're actually building here. And it slips right off. Alright, we're going to try a different feather. Maybe one with a little bit more meat. Let's give this one a try. Alright, try that again. Take 2. And I wish I would have took note of the day and time, but coming up soon, Kelly Gallup will be doing some live stream tying, fly tying in support of Project Healing Waters. So I don't, if anybody knows that day and time or could look that up at some point, help us out and share that information. I don't quite remember when that was exactly. I just got an email about it earlier, and it said spread the word, and I got half the information. Alright, so we're going to go just a little bit deeper into this. We're going to tie this in just because this is our tail. I'm actually going to go want a little bit of that kind of a marabou-ish feel to it. But yeah, Kelly Gallup's got all sorts of, world famous fly patterns. It's got the Zoo Cougar, the Sex Dungeon, etc., etc. So yeah, be sure to check that out. If it's not for a couple weeks, and if it's after my next live stream, I'll be sure to pass that information along. Boy, this is some really crappy hackle. Who knows? I mean, essentially the fish we're chasing after this is going to just tear this hackle up anyways, so who knows? I'm digging through my little patch here. I don't know, let's give this one a try. Nice little shorty, but yeah, you know what? It's called keep it simple stupid, right? We'll just do that one feather back there and let it be. It's just a little camouflage for the hook. Anyways, so gel spun, I'm going to give this a nice tight 3-turn whip finishes. Nice and tight. And a little dab of insurance policy on here. Good evening. Let me see what we got going on in the chat. Big learning curve with me on this one, says Steve. Pro Skipper 1, Fly Time Machine Gun Magazine. Tut 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 tut. And we got a good evening, good evening. Good evening, Josh. Good evening, Steve. Good evening, Pro Skipper. Alright, little dab of glueless. It's one of these flies that we're not going to get too fancy with that because that's going to be on the innards. Okay, so we're going to be moving on with our first shank, and you can sit here and try to get at it with your fingernail. I really wouldn't recommend digging at it with a pair of a sharp knife or anything like that. There's all sorts of different ways for that to go wrong if you're using a blade. Or even, I guess if you wanted, I got this little screwdriver tip thing or whatever, but a little trick that I found out earlier. So I was looking at the opening, and I'm looking at this, and I noticed that this is small and it gets big, and I have to do it on the bench, but if I take the end of that, I can use this for a little bit of leverage and just get that to open up just enough. And this first one, I'm going to come up from the bottom. I mean, and I'm not digging I really jacked up my fingernail earlier on the other side, trying to get that to open up, and it was just a little bit tighter than, I wanted it to be. So, okay. Check this out. Safety first. I got a little ball, a little cork ball. And I'll tell you what, that is going to be so awesome. It's going to be super, super, super sweet. Okay, I'm going to flip this upside down because I want this to ride the back end hook side up. That seems to be kind of common practice with these. Maybe if I zoom in just a little bit more, let me know how things are going out there. Alright, I think that's a little bit better. At least we got a nice even background, and this guy can keep an eye on us. I like my little bench, the bench monkey. Alright, here we go. So again, same thread. And I'm going to lay myself a nice little thread base. Work my way front to back. And we'll trim off the tag end on that. Get back there, you. This is why we got the cork on it. Alright, and you always want to be careful when you're dealing with these little articulation shanks. The corners of the steel, they'll bite your thread, and that's partially why I'm going with the gel spun. So make sure you get that locked up nice and tight whenever you're dealing with these types of shanks or whatever. And what do we like to do as far as insurance? We always like to add a little dab of glue insurance policy. It doesn't take much. And just a little splash right there on the back end. And that's it for that there. Go over it a couple more times with our thread. Work that into the glue. Alright, so again, here's my everything's staged. So this is all tail, and it looks like a lot because it is a lot. It's a balance that I'm still looking for, and hopefully after this we'll say we congratulations, AA Ron, you found the balance. So right on the very back, I'm going to do this same process, not once, not twice, but thrice times per inch per shank. Alright, so pinching it down, just twisting it. It's pretty thin. It's sparse as narce, but we still got to have a little bit of body on it. And this is going to go on what we're going to call the top. And just 1-2 turns for now. Nice tight pinch. And then we're going to do a little piece on the bottom. And this is the same stuff. It's white Congo hair. So we got this mix colored up top, and we're doing this white colored Congo hair on the bottom. Alright, 1-2 loose turns. And we're positioning it so it's on the top and on the bottom and a little bit rounded over on the sides. Okay, 1-2, one more nice tight wrap. And this is where this fun little magic will happen. I got this Starburst fibers, and I have not used this one yet. Before I used a Pearl Ice Dub, which came out pretty cool, but it almost has like this pinkish hue. We'll do a little side by side. It's a little bit more coarse. So here's the Ice Dub. Here's the Starburst fiber. So it's a little bit more coarse, and we're gonna see what happens. So a little bit's gonna go a long way. I'm talking just the smallest little pinch. We're gonna put a small pinch on the near side, wrap the thread over there at once, and it's basically the same thing on the far side. We'll wrap that over a couple of times. Nice tight tug, and that's gonna be it. We got dark on the top, white on the bottom, and these little bits of the Starburst on the sides. Alright, we're going to take our little push tool and push everything back. And I'm not going to wrap on top. I'm going to wrap right in front and make a little dam, a little ramp. And that's it. I don't want to wrap on top and make it look, I don't know, don't want to completely trap it. I just want to build a dam directly in front. Alright, so we'll bump our thread forward a little bit. And we can give this a little splash of head cement. That's way too much. Gonna pinch that off. We're gonna aim about halfway, right about the middle of this shank, and we're gonna repeat that process. 1, 2 on the top. We'll just do 1, 2 for the bottom. And it's the thing of it is if you just keep adding tons and tons of thread wraps, you end up just wasting thread wraps that are just super redundant and really don't do anything. So you want to just kind of make sure that the material's on the top and on the bottom. We're going to take a little bit of this flashy stuff on the side, and it's just one wrap to hold it in there for now. This is the gel spun thread, so we're going to reef down on this pretty tight. And when you do add, when you're really adding a lot of tension, don't pull at your bobbins like this. This is when you want to pull at it straight, and you're actually pinching and feeling it pull on the spool. So let's go ahead and ham that back. And the tool that I'm using is it's a fancy pen. It's a fancy Bic pen. This is the Minnesota MN Fly tool. Figured help support local business. They got these different types of packers. Nice and clear. Bass, trout. And it's got pike and muskie for big, huge packing and stacking and junk like that. Check them out. They seem to be doing pretty good. So, all right, we'll just build our little ramp up front. We'll give it a little splash of head cement, and it's like if we can get this part down good, then basically this is it for the whole fly. It's also going to come down to giving it a nice trim. Alright, we'll keep working our thread forward, and I don't know, I'm choking it up just a little bit behind the eye of this. We'll set our mix on top. We're right behind the eye. Just leaving myself just a little bit of room, enough room to build my little thread dam up front. Alright, we're going underneath. And again, it's like a lot of this material, the length of it is going to get trimmed off. But if you notice, how even, the actual quantity is pretty sparse. But not too sparse, because you want to have enough to fluff out and trim. We'll take some of this sparkly stuff. I'll just do one turn over. Whenever I add something, I do near side, far side, and then it's just one turn on the near side to just hold it in place. Because then you're going to go over it a couple of times. And it's like if you add up all the thread wraps that are holding the top portion of that Congo hair, I mean, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wraps or so by now. So we're right behind the eye. So we'll slide that back. We'll bop our thread forward. And as I wrap back, I'm okay. So as we can see, I don't know. This is what we don't want to do. We don't want to trap it like that, because then you end up with this blank little. It almost looks like a badminton ball or a badminton bird. You don't want to do something like that. We just want to leave it nice and exposed and open. And we'll just push it back on itself. Gives us a good, I like that flare tenfold better. Alright, so check this out. We got this fun little, we don't need it right now, but later on it's just a plastic straw, big straw. Sometimes I use that to help hold hair and stuff back out of the way when I whip finish. Let's go ahead and do 1, 2, 3. And gel spun, let's do that one more time. 1, 2, 3. Nice and tight. So that's it so far. We're doing pretty good. Like I said, a lot of that is going to end up getting trimmed off, but that's alright. So that was our first full shank. Alright, we got our next one. And again, I think it's just a little bit tough on the old fingernails trying to jam that and twist, and it can get kind of hard, so using the inside of, or the outside of this, it's got a nice little taper. It almost works like a little a drift pin. Alright, the rest of these we're going to go straight down with that. You got a drift pin on the end of your spud wrench. Any iron workers out there? Am I using the right vocabulary? I don't know. Alright. We'll just slide that back. And there we go. Bada boom, bada bang. I like it. Continue on with thread base. You don't have to get too particular of it, and you know, if you do your tag end just the right length, you actually won't have to trim nothing off. Alright, I'm going to add a little dab of Sally Hansen's. I didn't do a, did I do a head cement? I don't think so. I think I need to add just a little dab into that lot, and then a little dab back there. I think we're all mixed up now. So again, yeah, like I said, wow, we got 14 of us. Good evening, each and every one of us. Each and every one of yous. Careful around the tip. You can almost see the gel spun thread starting to fray just a wee little bit. Alright, we're going to go basically the same dance, because I mean, with the, I guess with the traditional typical game changer, you got different length shanks kind of working your way up from small to big, whereas this is a big ass fly, so we're just sticking with these 1-inchers. I mean a big old fly. Little chunk right on top. We'll give the old 1-2 to just give it that first position, and I push it around on top. I'm focusing on the top half, and I just want to make sure I get full coverage. I don't want to miss a spot. Alright, go underneath. Things can get twisted. Give the old 1-2. And it's always good to give it the old Pikachu around to the other side too. Inspect your work. You almost need a, could get away with working with a little mirror. Alright, let's throw a little bit of this starburst fibers in. inside and the outside. Nice and tight, nice and tight. I'm right at the end of that, so I really want to make sure I get that covered. Build our little ramp, pushing that all back on itself. And I'm going to add a little dab of glue right here. It's always good, insurance policy. Doesn't need much. Doesn't need to be super precise either, because it's all neither here nor there at that point. Alright, so that was our rear. We'll go to right about our midpoint. We'll add our next stack. There we go. A little bit on top, get a little bit on bottom. And then just the pearl fiber, or the pearl aura starburst. It doesn't take much of this either, just a little pinch on the side, and a little pinch on the side, and then it's just a matter of just add water. Batten down the hatches nice and tight. Slide that all back and then wrap nice and tight up front. And again, I'm not wrapping on top, I'm wrapping in front. And this will we're gonna brush this all out, we're gonna tease it all out, and this is gonna be fantabulous. Alright, a little splash of head cement. And work our thread right into that. A little bit of room up front, and then we'll do our last little piece for this section. Again, you know, it's just a little bit too long, or not too, little bit too long, it's a little bit longer than what we're going to need because we're going to end up trimming. So how's everybody doing tonight? What's new with you? We got quite the crowd. Steve, we know. Dave's in the house. Ben, good evening. And Samuel, good evening. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Pretty crazy, though, thinking about it. Infinite possibilities of things to watch here on the internet. Literally an infinite amount of possibilities. I'm competing with Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, time with the kids, time with the old lady. Here we are. It's good to be here. It's good to be mellow. Alright, let's go ahead and nice and tight. See where we're going with this? Go right behind. Squeak, squeak, squeak. And if I wasn't going to trim this all down, boy oh boy, that's just a whole lot of stuff going on. We're doing all right. Keep on keeping on. All right. One more shank. We're about halfway done, so I just keep working my way down and I pull my little sections out. And then when I get to needing another shank, that's when I can have it at the ready. Yeah, buddy. Alright, we're getting to the point where we can use this. This is just our fancy fandangle clamp. We can just clamp that all out of the way. Keep it from sliding around. Maybe not quite yet. I don't quite need that. Seems to be pretty good at just sitting on top on its own. But if you do have problems with your material going here, there, and everywhere, you reserve the right to yeah, use the little hair clip. A little splash, splish splash of insurance policy. Hear that click, click, click. That's the sound of the thread wanting to slice open on us. Here we go. Question is, how long are the little bits of Congo hair? Oh, let me take a quick gander. What do we got? About 2.5 inches, 2 inches. Yeah, I'd say about 2-inch pieces. I take a full piece of Congo hair, I cut it in half once, and then I cut it in half twice. So it's a quarter of a full length. And it's all going to get chomped down by the time we get to the scissor section. See, this white one I know is definitely super long, but its length makes it a little easier to work with. And we just want to make sure we get it on the top and on the bottom. And a quick kiss of pearl fibers on the sides. And that's it. Bada boom, bada bing. Just kind of one to hold it. And this will help mask a little bit of the thread. Kind of keep that hidden and tucked away. Start building our ramp. And I'm sure there's probably more ways to tie this than there are actual fish that it represents. But this is how we're tying it. Again, this is a newer pattern for me to tie. So, if you tie it completely different, or if you see that I'm making any sort of grave error, feel free to let me know in the chat or comments. Have you ever fished one of these? Who's tied these before? Who's fished them? The game game changer, I guess. But I don't know. Like I said, I was looking at these other little shanks. I'm like, well, those are cute. What am I supposed to catch with that? And then I'm looking. I'm like, well, I could throw that size 4 hook on the back, and it's like, well, what hook are we gonna put up front? It's like, well, you need a big old beefy hook if we're gonna be going down that road. Well, there we are. We'll get to that here in a minute. We still got a couple more of these little dog bones to go. Fish shanks. And I'll show you after this is done. Remind me to, I'll pull them out. Here they already are out. They come in different styles and different lengths and different shapes. These different articulated pieces. So, it's just something to experiment with and be mindful of. A lot of that, again, it's going to get trimmed out, brushed out. I want to make sure those kind of stay on the sides more or less. This looks so cool when it starts to get brushed out. Kind of the pre-haircut and then the post-haircut. Pretty unique. I think it's cool. And I don't think this is going to be one of those flies that we're going to get a whole pile of them tied tonight. We might just do just the one. Looks like we're already 30 minutes in, 47 minutes into this. And we still got one more T-bone after this. Fish shank, T-bones, whatever you want to call them. Articulated shank. Nice and chunky back there. It's gonna do us pretty good when we start trimming. Position it top, bottom, and this is a little side filler. I didn't bother proportioning all those little starburst fibers out because I'm just pulling it right out of the bag as we go along. And it's literally just a pinch. Just a small little pinch. A little dabble dubbus. Give it a little half twist just to What's nice is I can coax this back, and I know I got my little cork, a little piece of cork over top of the tip of that hook, so I'm not going to necessarily bleed. And I do have a barbless hook on the back, so if you do stick yourself, at least you'll be able to unstick yourself. Gel spun is so slippery, but it sure is tough. And I go with Sally Hansen's because it soaks into the thread. I think if I was just doing a dab of bone dry or a UV resin, it doesn't soak in. It gives it a good cover, but this actually, I believe, really gets in there and reinforces. All right. And then just swap that out. I know it's super, we're not like, I don't know, it's not super thrilling, exciting fly tying action we got going on here, and it's a lot of the repetitive stuff. So I don't know, questions, comments, what do we got going on? What's new with you? So last time I don't know if it was this time, last time, or the other time, we're talking fly fishing kayaks, and guess what, Buttercup? I put down a deposit on the Jackson Mayfly fly fishing kayak. It's designed with the fly angler in mind. It's super stable, and I watched a butt ton of videos trying to figure out what kind of platform I would want to use, and that's what I came up with. And one of the things I discovered after that, once I already placed my order, and I don't have to watch all right, this is the blah 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 compared to the yada 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 da kayak. I just started watching fail videos, kayak fly fishing or fishing kayak fail videos. And I tell you what, the biggest mistake half these knuckleheads make, too much stuff. They just have way too much gear. What's nice about the kayak is it's got integrated rod holders that kind of tuck away your fly rods safe and sound. I think it holds up to a 9 foot, which is pretty, or even longer tucked away, I believe. Quite the deal. So yeah, less is more, right? Alright, we're getting down to it. A little touch on this side, a little touch on that side, and then we'll prepare the actual hook. Then we'll get to the hook portion. We're not even to the main hook, boys and girls. And it feels relatively, like once this is all assembled, it feels relatively light because I'm not adding weight just to add weight. It's all natural organic weight from these shanks and the material and the thread. So we'll see how it fishes come this spring. Oh boy, we must have cut it right on the corner. For something to shear off a gel spun, boy oh boy. We'll have to build that up pretty carefully right there, I suppose. Oh yeah, I can feel it kind of slowly, carefully grind. Sounds like a good opportunity to keep that from snapping. Keep in mind you may need to purchase a heavier rod to throw one of these. Yeah, 9-10 weight. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not gonna get out there with my 10 cara rod. You're not gonna throw this on your 10 cara setup. Alright. I think that'll get us going right there. We'll aim right about the middle. Little pinch on top. And like I said, I know a lot of this length, these little patches are going to get trimmed off, but boy, it sure makes it easy to tie. Have a nice full lengths, kind of as a handle. And a lot of this stuff is going to get brushed off once we start hitting it with the brush and start trimming it. These sides are going to just kind of, oh buddy, I'm excited for this one. Ramp-a-damp. Not much going on outside for me this last few days. This below zero weather really kind of set the parking brake on my outdoor winter activities. I am not a fan of completely freezing my face off, but cross-country skiing, man, that's a seems to be a good exercise for me. It's great for my core and my balance. Low impact on the knees. I like it. Here we go. All right. Holy smokes. I mean, this sucker is going to be a monster. Monster fly. Push it back, push it back. Not on top, pushing. Here we go. Squeak, squeak goes the bobbin. It doesn't have to be the world's prettiest head underneath. We still like to take pride in the work. Work you do, right? Alright, little dab of head cement up there, and that is fantastico. Alright, so that's our first half. Bum, ba-da-bum, bum, bum. All the way back there with our little 4-aught in the rear. Alright, let's go ahead and we're going to go back over to here. Alright, let's switch this over to here. Turn that light off. Stretch the back for a second, because let's see here. Gonna get that kind of cleared out. After last week's session, the wife said, "No way you're getting a kayak." Ha 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 ha. Alright, so here's my operation on this. I just take my, Congo here and getting a feel for how big of a chunk I want. Fold it over once. Multiplication by division. Fold that over. I don't have to fold it over, but I can eyeball that. And I throw it all together. So now I just kind of got one big solid puff. And that feels like it's a good amount. And I can start divvying that up into different size, similar portions. Let's go 1, 2. I guess it comes out to about 4, doesn't it? And it's easy to go too heavy on this, so I take it, and I got this sitting on my lap. And it's just a matter of pushing that in. We'll get our next one, and we'll skip it. Alternate. So now we got 1, 2, 3. I think I'm just going to do 4, then maybe 5. I think maybe it's just the 1, 2, 3, 4. But I got it here and it's handy, so might as well just prep it just in case. So alternate, boom, 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 boom. And I'm going to do the same with the white. Just take off a chunk to work with. Fold that over once. Then we can eyeball about half. Like I said, I'm going with longer pieces, but I know I'm going to trim that down. A little bit easier to grab and hold on to. And the ends of it don't necessarily have to be super tight and close. So yeah, Mr. Dave, I'm gonna be ready to itching to paddle this spring, and I'm super excited. I think with this kayak, I'm gonna be able to get around in some of these lakes a little bit easier. And we like getting around easy, don't we? Alright. Boom, 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 boom. We just got this all reset. So let's reset myself. And we'll go ahead and finish all the work on the actual hook. Alright, here we go. Lights back on. Did I get a kayak for the wife? No. Not yet. Because the reality is if I use mine 100 times, she'll want to go out maybe twice. She's a busy girl. Busy girl working. Alright, so we'll set this off to the side for a quick minute. And we'll put in our main hook here. Alright, and again, this is big. Gamakatsu B10S Stinger. Because it's proportionate, right? Here's 1, 2. So what we got sticking out behind the hook is a little bit longer than twice the hook's length. So that'd be 1, 2. It's all about keeping things proportionate. And then we got the little stinger on the a little surprise at the back end. And it's crazy to be able to just like close your hand and grab. But like I said, a lot of that's going to get trimmed down here in a bit. Alright, so like I said, I'm not the foremost expert on tying this type of fly, and or anything articulated really. But what I've got, and it's you work with what you got. I've got some of this American fishing wire 30-pound test. How long it is kind of relevant. It looks good and solid. So it's a leader material. We're going to go 2 bananas with it. And you do not want to use your scissors. This is why we got the nippers. Alright, so this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to take a little section here. I'm going to go through the eye. I think that's how I do it, or no, I want to go up from the underneath. There we go. Alright, forgot to put my thread on, but we'll just go ahead and get the carriage before the horse. Okay. So I got my 2 wires on top. Go up. And how big your loop is right now at this instant is kind of irrelevant, because we can reposition and get everything situated right about there. Work our way back. Alright, so yeah, like I said, there's probably a 1,000,001 different ways to do this, and this is how we're doing it here tonight. Give it a little dab right there on the back. I was able to do this earlier. Tuck that under. Probably most definitely 100%, way too much overkill on that, but almost. And you know where that's going? Nowhere, that's where. Alright. I'll give this one last little splash of head cement over top of all this. So, like I said, there's probably a better way to do all that wire. Maybe. More efficient way, possibly. But that's how we got it on there tonight. Apologize, the squeaky bobbin. Let's be mindful on that little spot right there for now. Squeak. Alright. Here we go, let's have some more fun. I know this is 100% repetitive, but you know, by the time you get up front, you should have it, at least a process, a rhythm kind of figured out. I'm gonna, right around the shank, the tip of that hook, I'm going to split that piece. And in fact, just because I can, I'm just gonna throw that on there. Why risk hitting myself? Because I know at a certain point, you know, you're gonna start pulling on it, and I don't want the first thing it catches is me. I want to catch the big one on it. So we're basically just going to stick with that same spacing. That's it. I need to add just a little touch of oil. So a little trick, if you got a squeaky bobbin, rub your finger next to your nose, not up your nose, but next to your nose. And a little bit of oil there, and then you can use that oil, rub it on the post of your bobbin, and that'll take care of the squeak, squeak, squeak. Alright, nice, another little advancement forward. And having all these little pieces prepped makes tying this so much smoother. It's almost just like reaching down and grabbing a Kleenex almost. It's just like, oh, there it is. I think, yeah, most definitely this is going to be a one and done fly tonight. But we're not going to call it quits right away when we're at the end of the live stream. We'll hang out and chat and solve the world's problems. Come up with a plan for next week. What do we want to tie next week? work our way around the division of that hook around the bend. Oh, too far. Alright, let's see. We're going to do 1, 2, and probably a third. So, yep, that'll be just the right amount, I suppose. I mean, geez, this is going to be awesome sauce. And what's nice is having the little surprise stinger hook in the back. And you know, if the pike are striking this at the back end and you hook up on the back end, I mean that's definitely toothy critter proof. But then again, I'm throwing a small chain link fence underneath all this too, so that's one thing to keep in mind. The more junk you got on there, the more backbone you're going to need, just like Dave said. But you know, after it's all trimmed off, a lot of this is trimmed down, it's surprisingly relatively light for what it actually looks like, I think. But it's definitely got some mass, and it'll be interesting to see how she holds water. If it's just gonna shed, I mean, I might get this out there and it just might float. I don't think so though. Get some water in there. Fill her up, way up. Yep, this will be our next to last on deck situation. So how about that Super Bowl, huh? That was definitely a football game. I did the ultimate poor man's hookup on the live stream. So through Verizon, I have access to NFL, whatever, the NFL app through my phone. But it wouldn't let me just directly stream from the app to my TV. It would just let you, it's like, well, we'll let you watch it on your mobile device, because that's what we're all about, is mobile devices, which is kind of lame. So what I did is I set up my phone on a little stand, a little tripod, and I set up my laptop with my webcam, and I did the old webcam set to the screen of the smartphone, and then screen shared my computer to the television. And for whatever reason, the audio wouldn't necessarily directly connect. So what I was able to do is I actually used my Bluetooth speaker, you know, direct off the phone, and bada boom, bada bing, we had ourselves a football game. fun little adventure. Working our way repetitively all the way from the front to the back. So let's see, I was 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 little puffs of 17 steps. But it's not like they were super hard or anything like that. Alright, and as a little bonus, add a little KF3 to the mix. That's right, some crystal flash, a little bit of red. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll stick with 4. We'll double that. We'll trim. And we'll double that. We'll trim. And I'm just going to stick this right underneath. Holy smokes. Now that is the big old fly. Where'd my whip finish go? There you go. Now, how many times have we caught ourselves a nice big old bass and it had a nice big old minnow sticking out of its gut, just chocked full? It's happened a couple of times. Alright, a little dab of head cement. We'll just get right in there. Alright, now let's get ready to give this bad boy a haircut. And for that, I'm going to go ahead and zoom out considerably. How we doing out there, everybody? We doing all right? Did I put everybody to sleep? I think that should work. Yeah. All right, so first things first, I just kind of want to go against the grain and get everything kind of fluffed perpendicular to the shank and everything. Alright, I'm going to come in with my long scissors. And we're going to focus on the top, and we're going to give ourselves a nice take a lot of that off. Alright. Let's reposition. somewhere. A little bit shorter on the bottom. Trim this up just a little bit around the hook. So more narrower than taller. So I guess I could also just throw that. Yeah. It's all about using the right tools, or the tools you got. I think that's good. Made ourselves a nice good mess. Brush, brush, brush. I think we gotta go just a couple of snips. Alright, what do we think, huh? I think that is fantastico. Alright, we need to find ourselves our eyes. Because definitely something this epic deserves some eyes. I'm gonna trim this back just a little bit more. Alright, here we go. Where's my eyes? These are 3/8. I like big eyes, and I cannot lie. 3/8 big fish silver eyes. And I'm going to add a little dab of glue. This bottle of Zap-A-Gap has just been my arch nemesis. This whole operation is just, I don't know. Sometimes you get something and it just seems like you fight it and fight it and fight it and fight it. A little dab of glue right on the back of the eye. In theory. And how long this eye is going to last on here? Probably not long. I'm going to go back just a little bit. Same on the other side, a little dab of glue on the back of the eye. And it's got a sticker eye, but I want to give it just a little bit more reinforcement. Alright, and then to tame this up front, the head, just to give it just a little bit of a shape, I'm going to be using some Solaris Flex. I'm going to give it a soft head. I don't want to give this a super hard head. So I'm going to use some Flex. And that way when it cures, it's not solid like a rock, it's squishy like a jelly bean. But it will just kind of keep this tamed up front. Kind of work the thread or the fibers into it. I guess I should have left that a little bit longer up front. That's just going to give me a weird nose. Let's trim that off. And this is the Flex, so again, when it cures, this isn't going to be super duper hard. I should have just enough to kind of keep and maintain its shape, its profile. Yeah, the eyes are needed. Faux show. Well, here she is. So a nice little even taper. It's got a nice little dark spot up there. I think everything just kind of transitions. I think we got a nice We can trim up to the belly just a little bit more, I suppose. Boy, I tell you what, if this does not get a pike excited, I don't know what will. Pike or a big old bass. What do you think's gonna hit this first, pike or bass? Yeah, I guess I could. Good call, Steve. We'll add a little bit of flex, kind of up, actually right up onto those eyes. Kind of 3/4 around the edges. And then we'll do a little squirt around the eyes up here. Not pretty, but, you know, I think it'll be alright. I like the idea of hitting it with the flex. This has really got some sparkle to it too. Questions, comments, concerns? What do we think? This is gonna be a one and done kind of night. Tell you what, look at that mess. That's all right. Actually, that might make some good dubbing if I get that feather out of there. Yeah, maybe, maybe not. Kind of messy. It'd be nice if I was good enough, if I was smart enough, figure out a way to get that tied in there. A little peacock sword. But we'll save that for another day. I think that was a fun experiment. Like I said, I don't do these big old game changer. I don't know. Would this fall under the game changer category? I don't know. It's definitely big. I think the front end, not 100% happy with the front end on that, but it is what it is at this point. If I keep messing with it, then it'll go snafu. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think's gonna hit it first, bass or pike? I'm thinking a pike's gonna cuddle up to that first. But I don't know. Well, we're gonna wind down. We're gonna leave it at that. Hey, Chihuahua, it's a little sore on the back. But when I don't know when. What do we want to do next week? Did we do? Have we done Chernobyl ants? I see one sitting here. I think maybe we'll do this next week. Little Chernobyl. I'll have to go back and go through, but anyways. Yeah, definitely go for it, Josh. You know, it's just a matter of I don't know. That was my fourth one, and I'm a little bit more confident in the way I can tie in it. I don't know. I like it. It's a lot of fun. Imagination is your only limitation when it comes to these game changer style flies. I've seen them tied with feathers, Congo hair, this hair, that hair. Yeah. So. All right. Well, we're gonna wind down. Thank y'all for tuning in. Join me this Monday. We got the 15th. He'll be after Valentine's Day. If you do Valentine's Day stuff, say hi to your sweetie. Or not. It's up to you. Good luck. So, otherwise, we'll be back on the 17th. Same bat time, same bat channel. I think we might, if I remember, we'll try to remember to do these little Chernobyl ant. Fun little story behind those. At least when I was first introduced to them. So, yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. Please stay safe, everybody. Mask up, double mask up if you have to. Please stay safe out there. Happy tying. And as always, tight lines. Peace.